themes used to really not be my thing. I was not a huge theme person. I was just like, But working in kindergarten, you will realize that kids love a good theme. We love a good theme, and my teammates liked a good theme, so I was like, all right, I guess we're getting into the themes. And it's funny how just switching a little bit here and there can get kids really into what they were doing, even though it's the same game they've played before. So today I'm going to share with you some Halloween themed games and activities that you can use in your classroom. Now, these games are going to use dice, spinners, and one is just going to be kind of a problem solving activity. Now, dice and spinners are probably my absolute favorite manipulatives or tools, I guess, to use in math. They are so versatile. You can do so much with them. And because everything just changes a little bit, keeps it nice and fresh. So the first is called Empty the Board. And the way that you play Empty the Board is you fill the playing mat with cubes or whatever manipulative you have. If you have something that's extra Halloween-y, then that would be a really great place to put them in. And your students will roll a dice, and then once they have a number, they will take one cube off of that number. So they're going to keep going, roll a dice, see what the number is, take it off until the board is empty, and that's how you play Empty the Board. Now this game is differentiated, so it has one with dice images on it, one without them, one with that you can add a 0 to 2 dice, and just 2 regular dice to change the difficulty, but it still looks the same to most of the students. The next one is Spin, Count, and Cover. I originally made this game in a Valentine's theme, and my kids absolutely loved it, and they were counting so much. You know, a lot of times what kids really need is to practice the number sequence, but the number sequence itself can be super boring. So what I did was I kind of made this game mat, and the way that you play Spin, Count, and Cover is very self-explanatory. You spin, and then whatever number you get, you count those, and then you cover it on the mat until all of them are covered. And the kids like to spin. They were counting over and over and over to see which area or which number to cover. And the great thing about this kind of game is that students will start to realize that counting over and over is time consuming. So then they start to develop strategies for figuring out which number goes with which 10 frame. Because if it's a higher one and your 10 frame is almost full, you're not gonna waste time looking for all the ones because you know there's a lot more than one. So they start to get some subitizing in, start to make sense of number and become more flexible with numbers. So Spin, Count, and Cover is a great game that you can use anytime, but this one specifically is the Halloween theme. The next game is called Roll a Tower. So for this one, you roll a dice, and then whatever number you get, you're gonna make a tower of the same and then put it on the mat. And by the end, you should have all of your towers lined up, like 1, 2, 3, and or whichever numbers they're using, because like Empty the Board, it's also differentiated. So it has one with the dice images, one with just a regular dice with no visual help, and then some for the normal dice and a 0 to 2 dice or 0 to 3 dice, and then one for just 2 normal dice. This last game is really fun and spooky and great for a building thinking classroom style problem solving session for repeated addition, the beginnings of multiplication. Now, I did a similar activity with my students called Escaping Ants. In Escaping Ants, it was inspired by real life, unfortunately. We had an ant farm, and one of my students decided that it was a great idea to remove the little tube that goes with it, and then all of a sudden we had these giant ants all over the classroom. It was not fun, but it gave me the inspiration for an activity we did called Escaping Ants. So the premise was that these ants escaped. How many legs escaped? And I will have that exact task in the description if you would like to try it out for yourself. But the one that is Halloween themed is called Escaping Spiders. So it's a little more challenging because ants only have 6 legs. The spiders have 8. So I have these spiders that have escaped our house that looks like a haunted house. And the kids have to figure out how many legs have escaped. So what they're going to be doing is working with a partner to figure out how are we going to make sense of this? How are we going to be able to count? So they might use drawings, they might use manipulatives, but they should be really talking about it, especially if you hype it up and really give it like a spooky story. The kids will be very into it because storytelling is a great way to get students to buy in to what you're doing. So for that one, your kids will have to figure out a strategy to figure out how many legs have escaped the haunted house. And after that, for some consolidation and checking your understanding, the kids will have an option of a few ants escaping, a little bit more, or a lot. So that's mild, medium, and spicy. So they'll be able to pick with their partner which one they want to attempt to do after they finish their big problem solving. And this is a great opportunity for you to see if they could generalize the solutions or strategies that they use together with their partner in a different setting, and they are able to talk with their partner about it. And especially for the younger grades, giving kids the opportunity to talk about their learning and talk about their thinking is an amazing way to make sure that what they're learning sticks and it makes sense for them. So I will have all of this written out and links for everything that I've talked about in the description. I hope you have a great spooky season, and I will see you next time.